made some clause and remark that we should adjust them, which it was referred to the committee after the second reading. We've done.
It's 2 o'clock.
They've already moved for they already moved for extension. So, Mr. President, the list of members were already there on the first page, and then the objective of the bill. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the legislative summary of the bill. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, you may recall that the National Transport Bill was exhaustively discussed in this Allo chamber in the 8th Senate, after which the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation, President Muhammadu Buhari, withheld his assent and made the following observation: that the broad regulatory ambit of the proposed National Transport Commission over the operation and management of the Nigerian vast transport sector, subordinating all subsisting institutions and structure to the NTC, conflict with the area of regulatory oversight of the recent established Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Board. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the committee carefully examined and deliberated the above observation and resolved as follows. The long title and objective of the clauses 1A, C, and H of the bill have been amended so that the provision of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act 2018 supersede the National Transportation Commission Bill on matter of consumer protection in Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, on the second observation of Mr. President, that the bill seek under the Part 21, Clause 110, to take away the authority of Minister of Works as conferred by the Federal Highway Act and Management, direction and control of federal highways in Nigeria, vests the power on the Commission. The above submission is not the true intent of the legislature. For avoidance of doubt, the amendment to Section 2 Cap F1 2004 is reproduced below. 2. Without prejudice to the generality of subsection 1 of this section, the minister may prescribe such fee, due or charges that may be payable at any toll gate erected, equipped, maintained of this section at the tariff rate approved by the National Transport Commission, being an addition of the provision. Number 3, in the exercise of the power conferred upon the minister by subsection of this section, the minister may classify the categories of vehicle plying and passing through any toll gate covered by the provision of this act and the amount payable by such category of the vehicle. From the above, it is glaring that the only amendment of the section is the introduction of the phrase "at the tariff rate" approved by the National Transport Commission, which does not amount to usurpation of power of the Honorable Minister of Works. The amendment only puts the minister power of levying fee subject to the control of economic regulator in line with the international best practices. Mr. President, my distinguished colleague, on the third observation raised by the President, which states that provision of Section 107, 3, 108, and third schedule to the bill which attempt to transfer the obligation of liability to the Nigerian Shipper Council to the Commission and transmute the Nigerian Shipper Council into National Transport Commission are misconceived, and want to provide that the Commission should be established as a new entity in view of the required skill set expertise for the performance of the regulatory function. In the committee opinion, there was no misconception before passing the National Transportation Bill. 1. The committee is mindful of the President's order appointing the Shipper Council to act as interim economic regulator for the port on the 25th of March 2015 and issued as Nigerian Shippers Council Port Economic Regulator Order 2015 in the Federal Government Official Gazette number 34, volume 102, Government Notice number 40 of 27 March 2015. 2. The committee also considered the provision of the Nigerian Shipper Council Port Economy Regulation 2015 made by the Honorable Minister of Transportation on 22nd April 2015 and issued by the Federal Government Gazette of number 28 of 27 April 2015. Copy attached. Mr. President of the distinguished colleague, for all the aforementioned points, and by the virtue of the presidential appointment in 2015, that the Shipper Council, an existing agency which mandates its own port and transport economy as well as part regulation, has over the years acquired the skill, set the bill, requisite experience, pedigree, competence, and manpower to perform the role function of economic regulator for the transportation industry when National Transportation Commission Bill is enacted. Also, distinguished colleague, bear in mind that there are precedents set when the technical department of the fund NEPA became the National Electricity Regulatory Commission. Pension Office under the SGF became PENCOM. Technical Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, TCPC, became BPE. Nigeria Maritime Authority, NMA, and Joint Maritime Labour Industrial Council became Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. And of recent, the Consumer Protection Council became Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council. Recommendation. The Committee on Land Transport, after due consideration of the provision of the bill and Mr. President observation, hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do consider and pass the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of National Transport Commission as an independent multimodal economic regulatory authority for the regulation of transport industry sector and other related matters. I so move. Conclusion. The committee wishes to thank the Senate President and the entire leadership of the Senate and all our distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to serve. It is our hope that the legislation will impact immensely the development of the transport sector in Nigeria. And so move. Thank you.
Before I invite colleagues for comments, can you be very specific about those areas that Mr. President made his observations? Because this bill was passed in the ACE Assembly, and I think we don't have to go through this page by page. We need to know those areas that Mr. President raised his observations and how you tackled and addressed the concerns.
Mr. President, when you go to the legislative summary, we pick all the three observations, 1, 2, and 3. Page 3. You see, page 3, 5.0. Have you seen it? Yes, page 3. No, page 3. No, not that one. Page 3. The big one. Page 3. From the beginning. That paragraph, exactly. The first one is that the broad regulatory ambit of the proposed National Transport Commission over the operation and management of the vast Nigerian transport sector, subordinating all subsisting institutions and structure to the NTC, conflict with the area of regulatory oversight of the recently established Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. And the amendment was the one that is below it, number 2, sir. And then the second observation of Mr. President is that the bill seeks under Part 21, Clause 110 and 2 to take away the authority of Minister of Works as conferred by the Federal Highway Act in the management, direction, and control of federal highways in Nigeria and vest the power in the Commission. The opinion, that was the observation from the President, and which we explained at number 2 that without prejudice to the general subsection 1 of this section, the Minister may prescribe such fee due to charges that may be payable at any toll gate erected, equipped and maintained in pursuant to subsection of this section at the tariff rate approved by the National Transport Commission.
Comments? Leader of the Senate.
To consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the report clause by clause, say aye.